Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Silver Gauntlets for Sunday evening 3A between Oneshot and Gogeta. Joining me today, while I get rid of the audio echo, there we go, is BenjyRees. Benji, how are you doing today? I can't hear anything from your end. So, in the meantime, we'll just quickly go over what the medallions we start with. We start with the Forest Medallion, so that's a free song there. Start as adult, so that's good as well. We can get that song pretty quickly to add to our Sun's song. League settings, so of course CSMC is off, and we start with the lens. So if we get magic early, we might see the treasure chest game pretty early on. We will find out. Just see what's going on. So just waiting for the runners to ready up anyway. So yeah, so I'll quickly go over some stuff in about these two, as Benji might come back in and might be able
I think I'm back. Can you hear me? Is this work?
Can hear you now. Hello.
Huzzah! Sorry about that. Literally the worst possible time. My internet decided to have a little bit of a meltdown.
It's live. It happens. That's how it goes. Glad you're with us. Anyway, yeah, I was just saying we've just gone over the start. Really looks like an adult start. We're just waiting for Gogeta to ready up. We're gonna start with the Forest Medallion, and yeah, we start with Song of Time. So there's not really a lot else to say, really, apart from we just wait for them to get going.
The Forest Medallion gives us the free prelude check to start, doesn't it? So right. Especially if we get the adult start, that's an extra song right off the bat to go along with. Is that Song of Time in that spot?
Yeah, it looks like Song of Time, which we hopefully won't need. But we look like we're off. And gonna get the medallions straight away. Spirit, Water, Shadow. Spirit, Water, Shadow, something, and Deku.
They always flash by so quickly that that's I think one of the big skills that these runners have is the hints and things. They flash up for a split second and they've stored them in memory, and I cannot do that.
Looks like Tobias was got his Spirit, Water, Shadow, DC, and Deku of the medallions. That was also Sacred Forest Meadow to Bongo. I wonder what song that might be.
I mean, if it's not for Nocturne, then we could have some very funky logic.
Yeah. Or we could have a rare where it's actually the item and we find just Dins in Wolfos Grotto or something. Probably not.
To be fair, that's extremely logical, but that's nowhere near as fun as something incredibly convoluted for a 2-hour deep first bond bag, which is the way these things seem to have been going.
Well, speaking about, I watched Gogeta's match yesterday against Daredevil, and they had 3 Sphere Zero Bob bags, including 1 on Dompe Digging and 1 on Dompe Racing. So they had no shortage of explosives. And fire arrows from Rufio. Probably not needed.
So in League, this check's not in Logic yet because we don't have the hook shot, right?
Correct, yeah. Even though you can get up there as either child or adult without the hook shot, it's not classed as logical. Oh, there's a confirmation about 40 being dead as well. Oh, okay, well there's Nocturne.
Well, that so it's not going to be Nocturne in SF.
No.
Then.
Okay, so that gets a bit more interesting. First Divergence, only slightly, just a different routing choice. One playing Nocturne, one walking. Spirit to Twin Rover, thanks. Just a purple rupee in the crate. Alright, so double Dumpe racing. Was going quite good for Gogeta though until getting sniped. And it going even worse for one shot to begin.
This is not as easy as these runners generally make it look. And I say this to someone who tried it for the first time a couple of weeks ago and didn't even crack 1 minute 20.
This is the thing, because until there is multiple routes, and it's like until you learn which ones, if you lose sight of them, it gets really confusing. And then you're like, no, and then you're never going to get a good time. Yeah, so anyone who can get it under a minute is doing pretty good, and most runners can get it to around about 50 odd seconds, which is craziest.
Yeah, it's this one and the green Poe Amy in the Forest Temple. Mm-hmm. Although I've worked out that was partly because you move the blocks quicker in Rando.
Yeah, fortunately they changed that. And yeah, Tyrus making the point in chat that he would not have been punished today because he's not a fan of Dumpe racing either, and just refuses point blank to do it if possible. So today would have been a good seed.
It's really interesting because every runner kind of has different checks that they like and they don't like. Mm-hmm. Like, I think chickens, because we're in Kakariko, is like, it's a big one where some runners are vehemently anti-chicken. And there are others who will just, if they're there, they'll just do it and it doesn't bother them.
Yeah, chickens is like the most obviously divisive one, I think. Simply because I think probably more people would say they probably hate doing it than do it. But I enjoy chickens.
Yeah, it's not necessarily difficult. It's just time consuming for one item.
Yeah, I think exactly. It's
and especially if you don't have a CAC hinted path, then it's easy to put it away.
Mm-hmm. Lon Ranch to Dongo.
Alright. Bomb bag or strength. Oh, a bow!
And a bow just sitting there. Okay, that's actually quite useful.
That's I'm trying to think. So that does get us the adult shooting check in Kakariko Village. We don't need Forest Temple, so that fingers crossed we don't need Forest Temple. So that doesn't. So it's not for that, but it's just generally always useful having a bow, I think, and it does open a couple of checks.
Mm-hmm.
Ha!
Ironic place for the slingshot.
I mean, that is wonderful. It's up there with like getting the bomb bag on Bombchu Bowling.
Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, this is fantastic.
So no consumables to start with in League, so that's why we're getting one shot there. Buying a lot of Deku sticks. Like, wouldn't surprise me if we see the save quit soon to go back to his house to do the open Deku. Although I imagine, especially with, I imagine we'll probably do Lon Ranch first.
Yeah, I've got a hint about one of them. I'll probably do that first. Yeah, the good thing about these settings is Open Deku combined with default spawns means that Deku is basically almost certainly the first thing you're going to do. Just because you can. You just have to buy some sticks.
Yeah, and often especially if you take that start as child, it's on your way out of Kokiri Forest. No, hang on a minute, it's the opposite direction.
I mean,
you're in Kokiri Forest anyway.
Yeah, it's a good one to do. I think that One-Shot might do it. If they decide they don't want to bother with the old Valley Lake loop, you can just save quick, go straight back to Kokiri Forest, which probably is what we'll just see. And I think Gogeta will be following behind him. It's not really too much divergence early on, apart from Gogeta having the bow.
Here is the good chickens check.
Yeah, the chickens check would take sort of 15 seconds, and this isn't too obnoxious.
Having said that, one shot seems to be... Oh, there we go.
Hey, we got it. Yeah,
so two more checks. One is a song, which I would be surprised is path to King Dodongo, although you never know.
I guess we'll just have to see what's in Silo and then try and work it out.
That's Sarius. So, unless there's an item in the silo, maybe first bombs in Forest Temple or somewhere funky, maybe Skull Kid?
Yeah.
It's just going to be the bombs in the silo now and be very uneventful.
I mean, that would make the most sense, wouldn't it? Like, if there's a path to King Dodongo, it's usually got to lead to or be the bomb bank. So we'll find out if this seed has some quirky logic twist for us.
And I'm not saying that I want some really weird backwards logic.
Nope, but it looks like it's just for some.
It'll be a nice test for me. I'll put it that way. What's Mido hiding from us? A fat lot of nothing.
If there's ever anything in Midos, it's either bait or it's just the game saying, yeah, too easy. Real runners don't want anything in Midos. They want a challenge.
Without CSMC, Mido's like you go in there and there's a bit more intrigue, I think, as opposed to going in there and knowing it's instantly dead.
It's like, oh well, it's early. I might open it in case there's some bomb cheese, but otherwise not bothered. But yeah, CSMC is one of those ones where it's like the same one. You can go, oh my god, there's 3 huge chests in Midos. It's absolutely stacked, and then you get like Nehru's, a slingshot, and some of the nonsense ice arrows. So
yeah, having been weaned on a diet of CSMC these past couple of months,
it's took me a little while to get used to
without it
having it off again. Yeah, it took me a while to get used to it in the first place, and now it's taken me a while to get weaned off of it. Frogs 1.
That's Frogs 1, isn't it?
Yep.
Five sometimes hints. No, the second, because we had the
Lost
Storm.
Woods is foolish.
Lost
Good thing they came here first, isn't it?
Yeah, with that nice early slingshot for the target in the woods. Also means that Sari is definitely not for Skull Kid. So it'll be either forest access or Dancing Dad. Come on, Dancing Dad.
I'd hope so. But could be forest access.
Greg! Oh, that's good. Nice early Greg.
Someone was saying in chat, I think it was Tobias was saying, that was Vanilla Midos apart from Greg managed to escape. But he didn't escape very far because we found him straight away.
The Green Rupee of Eternal Glory? Is that the one?
I believe that is what it stands for. I'm 99% sure.
Is it one of those where someone came up with the name and then reverse engineered what it stood for? Or
that is a really good question. If anybody knows, feel free to let us know in chat, because I wasn't there when it was sort of born, so I'm not 100% sure of how exactly it all started.
yeah, there were a fair few little kind of memes, in jokes and stuff that when you first come in, it's a bit like, oh, what? Yes, fine, okay, I don't quite follow, and then after a while, you pick it up kind of through osmosis. And sometimes, I must admit, there are still things which is like, I think I get that now, but
yeah, no, it's one of those weird things because it's a big and a varied community. But this one of the older randomizers has been around for a long time, and so varying people have started so many memes over the years that have just like not gone anywhere. But a few of them stick around.
Oh, hello, is that a claim check?
That is a claim check. Oh, that's quite nice to get, because the last seed I watched, which was what I was talking about earlier, that had a prescription, and it was necessary. And you had to rush ice to unfour King Zora for the prescription to get the Gora. So that was fun. So at least there won't be any of that shenanigans for them today.
No, I think, to be fair, like, prescription's the item you want to see. I think you should be really mean and start with weird egg. Go from there. Make everyone do the full elaborate trading quest. I
was going to say, if we're going to do that, we should bring back Castle at the beginning to go get ZL with the weird egg, the hatch for egg, wake up, talon,
oh god,
push for crate, jump across, avoid the guards.
Yeah, there's so many little things that. So I've only just finished playing the vanilla game, and it's like all the stuff that Rando cuts out. I'm like, I totally see why we do this.
Oh, there's so many quality of life improvements. So when you actually go back to play the vanilla version, it's just like, wow.
That's the word I was looking for, quality of life. Yeah. Gogeta not getting the B1 skip first try. But one shot nails it.
Very nice.
Representing Challenge Cup here against the top 64.
Exactly right. Yeah, Challenge Cup semi-finalists, no less. One shot versus
Westifer.
That was it. Yeah, Westifer was the one who he took him out in the last round, and Gogeta made it to the last 24 of season 5, the top 64 brackets. Only losing to
took some good scalps.
Yeah, only losing to Mr. Mario in losers bracket round 5, I think it was.
Which is, absolutely no shame in that.
No, not at all. And was also a finalist last year in last year's Challenge Cup, Gogeta, I believe. So he's got form in the Challenge Cup, so it's good to see I'm back on this channel again. Both these runners are really close in the league as well. I think Gogeta is 4-0 and Oneshot is 3-1, so they're both sort of in the hunt for promotion. So this will be a big game for both.
I'll be honest. Oh, strength!
Wow, Deku actually had something and it was on Goma.
I was going to say, I'll be honest, in terms of a first matchup to call, I feel like I've done pretty well for myself here.
Doing fantastically, yeah. I mean, it's, I don't think I mentioned it at the start, but it is Benji's first time doing this, and I couldn't tell, that's for sure. Seemed very
thanks.
natural,
That's very kind.
Doing a good job.
Yeah. But everyone in chat, please, if I kind of miss some things or muddle some things up, then obviously please do feel free to put me right, because that's how you learn, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And you're always learning with this game as well. Like, there's so much logic quirks that like can happen that you don't usually see, and so when you get some really unusual ones, you know, you're always learning. So.
Oh, there was one I remember that was maybe Kakiri sword on big pose because Hammer locked all the bottles. Something really weird like that.
Oh.
And so the hammer path and Kakiri, yeah, big 4 Kakiri sword because the hammer just locked all the bottles to do big pose. It was, yeah, absolutely mind bending.
And then sometimes you can just get a nice easy jet seed, but just someone god routes and it's done in like an hour and a half. That's a lot rarer.
Yeah, it's like obviously with the various people who roll the seed, it's just kind of putting the instruction in and letting Randobot do its work. And sometimes Randobot is very unkind.
More than sometimes. Almost all the time.
50's dead.
50 is dead. Okay, so not too bad then. 40 and 50 both gone.
Max of 30, which is nice. That's Composer's Grave.
Yep. And that's...
And Ruto's.
Ruto's letter, yeah. I always have to double check every time. But yes, it is Ruto's. Alright. So we're getting a lot of things for our stone dungeons, that's concerning.
It is a little bit concerning. I'm kind of just waiting for the penny to drop for for what's on Ocarina of Time. With Foolish Lost Woods, they'll probably zip straight to Sacred Forest Meadow, you'd imagine?
Yeah, no need to waste any time here with the slow Ocarina minigame, for example. But I find that's worse than chickens. I know it's shorter, but it's like easier to mess up if you're not paying attention. It's boring.
Oh, yeah, that took me. The real one took me about 5-10 minutes because I was just not paying attention properly, and it takes a lot. Again, another brilliant quality of life change.
Oh, fantastic that change! Like it makes all. It's still boring check, but at least it's manageable. And if you get it wrong, you don't feel like too stupid.
Now that's the nice early find. Skullmask's dead as we knew Skullmask was dead because of the foolish hint. So actually not that important. But lovely having Zelda's Lullaby that early, I think.
Definitely. Rather than finding out, it's on OOT by the way.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, much better than finding it's on OOT. Did Gogeta forget that they've, or is they doing that deliberately, or did they?
I think that was a misstep. So they're not going to get that hint for now. I presume to get it when they come back as an adult. So one shot will show us what that hint was, though. That's the Spirit's Twin Rover again. Thanks, game. We also did see DC to Bongo, though, as Tobias points out.
Is that our second Bongo hit? Bongo hint. That is. Because we had Sacred Forest Meadow as well. So what's not being hinted? Probably Deku.
Yeah.
I mean, you hope it's
strength is
Deku
pretty
because
important. Like, it's would make sense for a lot of things if that's what it was.
that is definitely something to keep an eye on. That final path hint.
And there's one shot getting that Bolero, but was in it.
One shot going for the flame storage and nailing it.
Very nice. That is one of the tricks that took me a lot longer than I thought it should have to learn how to do. Somewhat consistently.
Unfortunately, yeah, he gets no reward for it with just the blue pea. And the time of day is not quite there to do Dampe digging.
Thanks
hello.
for clearing that up for us in chat. There's a bit of confusion, but we have had OOT in it. And it's Serenade, so no AD for the song. Confirmed.
One shot's going into the well, I assume.
Yep. Get to hear the sped up music, which always sounds good. Especially with rando music settings.
Yeah, what music is that? Because I will feign ignorance. I know this, because this is Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, it's like everyone, as soon as you hear Phoenix Wright, it's like, oh yeah, that's Phoenix Wright. It's become a meme. And
yeah,
following that Sarius gets Gogeta a scale of Dancing Dad.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, that suggests that almost certainly scale is linked to that path.
This is good. Okay, I did say I wanted something slightly mind bending, and that seems to be satisfying that. That's good.
Yeah, Jabu is very definitely looming, as James Hart points out.
Yeah, Gogeta's following that scale upriver, and with ZL as well. That's access to domain. And was that Frogs 2 is the nut grade?
It is indeed an upgrade on Frogs 2. So no Frogs 2 either today. So quite a lot of the horrible checks are all being hinted dead so far.
Let's have a quick peek through these coffins. Doesn't like what he sees.
A few beans for Gogeta, and one shot is going to carry on through this pretty barren so far well.
Yeah, there's kind of two wells. It's the well of the hero, or the kind of the golem of the well. So
Plenty
far,
of heart pieces though, so that's good, I guess.
I mean,
we need to go into fire later, which we hopefully don't.
No, it as we would say in my family, it's better than a poke up hoot. I don't know what that even means, but better than that. So here we go. This is Steve, the hidden chest. Just a small key. Fountain Foolish. And a really clean dead hand there from one shot.
Only a key
for another key.
Yeah, but the skills.
Those keys.
To the semis.
Yeah, so those skills not in logic. Those keys not in logic because logically you need the Kokiri sword for dead hand, right?
I'm pretty sure that's what the logic expects. I think that's the case in League. I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah, it's just the little things. It's like, what are you expected to do? What are you not expecting to do? Switching between League and Season 5. Goron City to Morpher, that's your last path in. The scale wouldn't satisfy that on its own, would it?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure there's got to be something else.
I hope there's got to be something else. Nice little flame storage there from Gogeta. Doing the torch run, and he's going to try and double dip the dive as well.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that I used to think was like so stressful to do. It's like, how can you do both at the same time? And it's like, but then actually it's really not that bad. I just put it off for ages.
I really struggled with the dive because I didn't realise you had to hold A to go down deeper, and was trying to mash it, and it's like, why isn't it working?
Oh no! Yeah,
felt like an idiot.
It doesn't actually like tell you to hold it. I don't think it just. It's just, oh, here's the dive button, right? So.
Anyway, free shirt.
So, well, pretty nothing today.
Especially with Stone Fire. Which we hope we don't need to explore too far into. Oh, bombs! Bomb bag! And that's the King Dodongo path satisfied. So Saria's for the scale on Dancing Dad, for your domain access for the bomb bag. Unless I'm
sounds right to me.
Oh, one shot.
Oh,
I think this is a chickens.
This is definitely chickens.
Yes!
Virgil also pointing out that the Kokiri sword is in the letter underwater spot.
Good spot.
It's a very good spot.
Yeah, the peaks and the kind of identifying of items is always tricky, I find.
Yeah, especially the freestanding ones, like the underwater ones. Both the underwater ones, the fountain one as well, is a pain.
Yeah, the icy waters. That is.
This is a specific angle, and if you have to hold it at a really weird angle, and then you can just see it for a second. If you're looking at the right spot, it's horrible.
Question: when are we adding the Hylian Loach to Rando?
I tell you what, though, we're talking about improvements to quality of life. The fishing minigame is the biggest one for me. Making it the same fish every time in an easily accessible place is huge. Otherwise, the fishing game would be hated much more than chickens, I feel.
Yeah, a very easy way to sink a lot of time. No pun intended.
That's good. That's one to Star would be proud of.
Trying to hold up my end of the bargain here on comms. And Chickens was dead.
Yeah, Chickens was a complete waste of time, but at least it was done. So I feel better about that.
Yeah, at least now you kind of and so you're not going to have that nagging thing in the back of your mind. What?
Yeah, it's the what if. I guess
Nice
just find a check that you hate more than chickens, and then you can't be quite as disappointed if you have to do it.
Yeah, Gogeta finding a repeat of the Lost Wood hints there in the Lost Woods bombable grotto outside Goron City. As full credit to Oneshot for having the Pokemon XD Mirror B music as their Hyrule Field theme. That is top tier music choice.
Very nice indeed. I mean, and randomized music from different games in Zelda. It's my favourite rando feature. It's one of the reasons I enjoy rolling the seed, is to find out what random songs are going to play at various points.
Yeah, random songs, random tunic colours, little stuff like that just makes it a bit more of an interesting viewing experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
And especially if you're playing a lot of it as well, just for yourself to be able to sort of customize however you like, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, that Hyrule Castle one hint was Suns on Burning Cack. So hopefully not a check that with Frogs 2 dead. That's one check. Although we have had a graveyard path. So did we? Yeah, no. No, it was a hint stone in the grave. Ignore me. I'm a fool. Winner.
Winner heart pieces and the Goron is dead. But the meme percent is still strong. That's important.
Is that 2 now? Winner and Greg?
Yeah, so Gogeta winning 2-1 on memes at the moment in the completely unofficial and unrecorded Battle of the Memes.
Also, the one time when you actually get the claim check for an easy big Goron, of course, he's got nothing.
Yeah, same with the easy storms. You know Well's going to have nothing then. It would be too easy if you could just go straight to Well and get something useful. No.
Same with Frogs 1.
And that's a horse on Bolero. Okay, that's good with that bow. That opens up HBA.
Yeah, and we've now got access to Gerudo Fortress as well. Because we can jump the bridge, which is infinitely more fun than just using the long shot, in my opinion.
But only if you can get opponent to actually play nice and line up, and that is a boomerang.
That is very much a boomerang. Uh-oh. All dungeons intensify slightly, or more likely, some sort of hook in Jabu.
Yeah, at this point, Stone Jabu is looking like that's kind of going to have to be it, if that's Path to Morpher.
Oneshot buying a shield. And a very fetching, I'm going to call this salmon pink Goron tunic.
Yeah, it looks salmony to me. I think salmon is for... It's been so long since I've been to a DIY store and looked at the names of paints. They always have hundreds of different silly names for tiny differences in colour.
Often the sillier the better as well.
Yeah. It's like someone.
Sorry, carry on.
I was going to say someone at the whatever paint company. It's how do we come up with names for 15 different types of beige? It just went wild.
So choose there for Gogeta. There is a prediction I've just seen that started in chat about who finds that first hook first.
That's a good one. Oneshot coming into DC without the bomb bag. It's going to feel a little bad. It does have strength, so he's at least able to dip.
Yeah, and this will... that's another Skull Mask hint. Yeah, they know they are expecting some sort of item in here, be that magic or hover boots, something that will hopefully lead to Ognob, and not the ice arrows.
I hope it's ice arrows now.
Me too.
Looks like chat is split with that prediction on who's going to get the hook shot first.
I generally think that's the sign of a good prediction, when everything's pretty even.
Baseball's right, yeah. It's like water for duck's back. Just like Ognob, just like straight in there.
I lost my mind that stream. I can't even remember why everything was being said backwards. But when Ognob came out, it was just a thing of beauty.
It's fantastic. Oh, hey,
that path pretty much satisfied.
Alright, so these path hints then are a mixture of pointless and disappointingly obvious so far. But actually it makes sense, which is unusual for a seed after 40 minutes, but so much kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I don't believe in jinxes. Like, as someone who does a lot of commentary, not just on this, but on quote-unquote sport as well, like, the commentator's curse is not a thing. I refuse to let it be a thing, because if it did, I have way more power than I should do.
Absolutely. It's one of those ones where it's like, I don't even want this power. Like, I just want the game to be fair. I don't want to change anything. So, yeah, just don't believe in it. Because it doesn't exist, I'm with you.
Yeah, like, there's no way that Oneshot and Gogeta have any idea what we're saying. So,
and Randobot's already rolled it, so they can't go back in time and just fiddle about with the source code while they're running the seed. So
no, that is true, but I don't know. Is it bad to say I don't trust Randobot? It probably is for when the robots take over the Earth.
And Randobot will remember that, but if Randobot starts to take over the Earth, we have got much bigger problems, I think.
No, that is fair.
We'll probably be the first ones. We got rid of in the purge immediately. It's everyone else who'll have to deal with the consequences. So, yeah, Randobot, it's all your fault. There you go. I'm safe now. Gogeta going to follow the storms into the well and find out there's nothing of any interest in there.
The thing that really interests me is how, obviously, as we've mentioned, how rolling a seed works is that you just press the instructions into Randobot and pray. But it's funny how there is a certain meta about how certain rollers, like, they just tend to have every time X person rolls a seed, this check comes up. And I find that really interesting because you know that really it should have no bearing at all. But I feel like for some people it definitely does have a little bit of a change of how you play the seed.
I know it's interesting as well when I see people saying things and then they're like, "Oh right, yeah, that makes sense," but I never really thought of it. I was actually going to say something there, and I totally forgot what it was. You'll have to. It's been a very long day, and I'm quite tired.
That's all. I'll let you off. It's been yeah, it's a Sunday, right?
It is a Sunday, yes.
End of a week. Just sit back, crack open a beverage of choice, and enjoy the ride, I guess.
100%.
This is going to be the bow being picked up now for Oneshot in this DMT Storm's Grotto. And now, this is the first time we've seen adult Goron City, I think.
I believe so, yeah. I don't remember seeing Link with Goron or anything, so This will hopefully help us clear up that path. Not got strength to or a bomb bag, so isn't going to be able to full clear it unless they've picked up those chews.
Big Stabby.
Hey,
did we miss that for one shot, or did they not pick that up?
Must have missed it. Like, I don't see why they wouldn't have picked it up.
Yeah.
Wait, no, they couldn't have because they didn't have any bombs, do they? So.
Oh, that's where it was.
Yeah, Gogeta's the only one with any explosives. Oh,
and there's a hook shot on Papega of the Gorons.
Of course there is. That's a hook shot. All right.
And there's your prediction.
Goron City has been absolutely stacked today. Scale, Rang, and now the hook shot.
So, pick your path.
Yeah, that doesn't really help because like all of those are kind of useful items that open up quite a few places. But it really leaves us kind of unclarified which one we should be going to. Still.
Yeah. Time for some Mido skip. Oh no, this is Mido skip, isn't it?
See, we've got Saria's and it's doing a Mido skip, so this is just standard Mido skip.
I thought Mido skip was when you did Mido skip without Saria's.
Yes, no, you're right. You are right. It's the Mido skip. Correct.
I've been waiting for an excuse to bust that out.
I do love that though. The Mido skip, and then skip. It's one of my favourites.
All utter nonsense, but I love it. So this hook is going to help immensely in picking up skulls. We still don't know how many, if any, we're going to need, but that does make it easier. And this is also your complete forest kit now for one shot, although I'd be surprised if they went in there without a path. And Sacred Forest Meadow, the Minuet check gives Requiem.
Okay.
So that could well be potential path. It would have to be because ZL can't be path, right?
Yeah. So it has to be. So yeah. So that means there's something interesting in Spirit or that sort of area.
Yeah.
And that's where one shot is straight off to. Going to take that song and go exploring.
I would do the same thing. He says not playing rando, but yes, it makes a lot of sense.
At the very there's that confirmation again.
At the very least, you get a song out of it.
It's dark, so no idea what was on the archway.
No, and Minuet, so that is a nice little swap. And he's following it back.
Yeah. But, that was worked out quite nicely. Little short visit.
And one shot is going into the forest temple.
And he's got everything for it, like you said, and easy enough access. Can at least have a look.
Yeah, I mean you can pick up a few quick skulls as well if you don't want to go too far in.
Yeah, at this point, looking like he's on 9 skulls, so I think the skull play is what's leading him towards dipping forest too. And Gogeta are going to walk out of Kakariko.
See, I know a lot of people don't like forest, at least in a rando setting, because it's kind of linear and boring. But I think it's the coolest temple, and it has the coolest music, although obviously it's randomized at the moment.
I think it's a really, really good temple. It's just... and it's quite... I find it kind of fun to play if I'm playing it. I enjoy the different... There are different ways through it. Like, it's just... Usually there's one correct way. But sometimes it could throw like 3 key forest at you, and that's always entertaining.
It's just, and I just think it's so weird, like with the strange corridors and the pose, and oh hello, double defense, and he's thumbing his nose up at it.
It's like, I don't need that. This isn't CSMC. I'll end up with like 14 hearts by the end of this. I don't need double defense.
That is true, yeah. In CS, without CSMC, it's a lot less necessary, although it is obviously never necessary. Warwick with a hot take there on the weekend of the Masters. Fun to play, but a snore to watch like golf.
I am mixed on golf. Like, I used to enjoy watching it, and I used to sort of enjoy playing it, but now I'm sort of not as much as I used to, I think. I don't know.
I will watch any sport that's on, basically, like anything. So
I used to be like that. Like, I would literally watch any and all sports. But I haven't for a while, which is weird because I always used to.
There's the Burning Cactus Sun Song hint in Hyrule Castle 1.
Yeah.
And Gogeta's going to check the fairy with the bomb bag. Why wouldn't you?
I think commentating golf on the radio baseball is a bit like trying to commentate through a double forest. Like, you just have gaps you have to try and fill.
Yeah, so much of radio commentary is kind of is picture painting generally, rather than the specifics of he's hit a shot, it's gone far, that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a little bit of backspin. Oh no, he's in a bunker, and then he's sort of just silence for the next like minute while the shot gets set up.
Yeah, golf is definitely one of those sports that I think is probably better to watch on television than it is to listen to on the radio.
Some sports
like,
are great on the radio, but I don't think golf is one of them personally.
No, like snooker I can't imagine on the radio either. And this is your traditional Brits on comms mention snooker bingo card that you can scratch off. Like cricket on the radio is like that is the way it is supposed to be enjoyed, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the gold standard of radio sport is cricket, in my opinion, as well.
That is still
very British, so what's we say?
Yeah, that is still my one dream is to commentate on Test Match Special. When I do that, I can die happy.
I almost had a chance to get into BBC cricket radio commentary, but then I had to move. Yeah. Which really sucked because I had a chance. I could have gone for it, but maybe I wouldn't have got it, and then I'd just have to spend like every summer just travelling around the country. But you never know, could have made it to Test Match Special. Probably not, but I'm with you on that. That's a dream. Okay, Gogeta getting the opponent from Valera. And one shot still going on through forest, and there's nothing to talk about in forest at all, except there's
no, it's yielded absolutely nothing.
Doesn't help us because we still got to go through the same loop anyway. We can't just skip straight to the boss in these settings because we haven't turned on dungeon shortcuts yet in standard settings.
Is that one of the things that can be enabled in RSL?
I believe it's one of the options we can come up in RSL.
Here's the often orphaned adult archery. That's a bit of a mouthful.
But yeah, as Tobias is pointing out, the dungeon shortcuts is very experimental, but it is an option out there if you do want to give it a try.
That's 3 out of 5. Always Zuta safely with Nehru's love on the adult archery check.
remembering to do that check is the most important bit coming from Fatman, because it's one of those ones it's easy to forget if you don't do it when you get a chance.
I have seen races where that check's been forgotten and it's had a key item, and I've also seen races where someone hard orphaned the Redead Grotto for whatever reason, just completely forgot it existed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I remember that one. They were literally like walking past it like 4 or 5 times, and it's just there. It's right underneath you, and literally they 100%ed the seed, and it was just over. It was sad.
Yeah, all chat was doing every time they walked past was just like, please, and it's one of those things. Like either you completely forget it exists, or in your mind you've been like, I've done that, whatever.
Mm-hmm. That's it. You just tick it off. Like, I've done all the checks in CAC. That's it. I'm done. Except check not.
and even the best players do that. There was one in Top 64 recently where. It was What the Hells, I think, went into the well to try and find Strength 3 and just misidentified the chest behind the light and left. And that was where Strength 3 was. And it's like, I'm not trying to pick on Hells here, but I just think it goes to show even the best runners forget checks every now and again. Like, it happens. You know?
Absolutely. It's just one of the things that you just have to accept if you're going to run this game or even play it casually. You're going to accept that mistakes will and are going to get made. And sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, you just try not to beat yourself up about it too much.
Yeah, as Tira is pointing out, nobody is immune to Pepega. It's a very truism if ever I heard one. Yeah, if it hadn't been CS, coming back to that example you're talking about, if it hadn't been CSMC, probably wouldn't have mattered, but because it was CSMC...
you just been like, check it. Virgil's corrected me. Dins for Lights and Shadow, that was the one.
Yeah, that was really bad.
But it happens. It happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Tobias. Literally hundreds of checks. But those are the most unfortunate, because the ones where you, like, it's not just like, oh, I misinterpreted the logic, but I've worked it out. It's like, you think you've done it, there's no chance you're remembering it. That's when it really feels bad. But,
yeah, you read it perfectly. You read it perfectly, and you just miss a check, and then all of a sudden you're trying to scramble around, like, maybe I have misread it. What have I done? And
then that sends you way off the path of where you really should have been going. And so just hope that you 100% the seed and do it faster than your opponent, who's also done something similar. Like it's just your hope in that situation.
Oneshot is at this rate. He's committed. Like, it's the sunk cost fallacy, I think. Like, at what point do you say, I'm out, you know, I've done it, or do you say, I've invested enough time, I need Phantom Ganon to have an item at this point?
I mean, that's basically what is I've come this far. Might as well just finish it, so I never have to come back here again.
Down goes the second Poe-sister. That one's Joelle?
Probably.
Oh, hello. Oh, something that we don't need, maybe. I don't know. Hammer. That is...
a stone item bait in a stone dungeon. Why not?
Yeah, we know that hard all dungeons is not required with that serenade, but we could certainly get an oops all dungeons, I guess.
And the seed's definitely given us everything for it. Go to your stone dungeon, find another item for the next stone dungeon, and then just do an oops AD.
Because we are pretty certain at this point that we'll probably need to dip into Jabu. maybe. Oh no, because we found the hook shot on Link, so maybe not.
Stone Jabu, stone deepest fire, maybe. There's a lot of potential here for for some bad things to happen in this seed for our runners.
This is a nice little slick block puzzle here for Oneshot. 41, that's good.
That's someone who's done it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Gogeta's busy defeating the hardest boss of the game.
Yeah, the only boss you can't one cycle. Insanely powerful. But
ridiculous.
Easily dealt with.
Yeah, going from that to Baronade, which is like a 4-phase fight, is like, you feel like the difficulty really ramped up here.
Yeah, Tyrus with the point you can actually one cycle in Bonko. If you turn it on as an optional setting and he rolls around and bumps into the wall, he just dies. It's hilarious.
Here's the final poster sister for Oneshot, Meg. He's looking for that extra spin that one of them does to identify which one's which.
Choosing to use the hookshot as the method of choice as well. Speaking of...
Oh, there's the other one.
I believe the reason why I might be using the hookshot is that I'm pretty sure I heard with the animation, when you hit them with the hookshot, is they don't... If you hit them with the bow, they sort of get shot backwards a little bit. But if you hit them with the hookshot, it sort of doesn't do that. So it's like a few frames faster or something. I'm pretty sure.
I would absolutely believe that, yeah. Oh, Gogeta misses the first shot.
Ooh, that looked good as well. That looked like
that's what I thought. But once Gogeta does nail Gogeta with the Gorons, that will be his long shot, and that puts water very much on the table.
A non-stone dungeon. A progression dungeon, no less.
Whether we need the iron boots is up for debate. Obviously, I know that some of our esteemed commentators, looking particularly at Jackstronomy, believe that the iron boots are DLC. And there's a bomb bag.
Just sat in the bottom of the forest. Okay.
So that is logically a fair few spheres deep, as opposed to the free bomb bag that Gogeta found in... Well, not quite free, but freer bomb bag that Gogeta found in Domain.
Yeah, Tobias pointing out that forest dip paying off there at the end with that bomb bag. And the hammer as well, although maybe we won't need that. But the bomb bag, really bailing him out.
Nice little bit of Mario Kart music here. Really takes some of the jeopardy out of the boss fights.
One of my favourite ones I saw was, I think it was Kirox doing an RSL seed, and it was Thomas the Tank Engine for Queen Goma.
Oh, I've seen some... heard some Thomas the Tank. Oh, one of them was... I can't remember who it was, but they had Thomas the Tank Engine as the windmill music. And that was...
so it speeds up when they...
That was excellent.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant. Good point though. As Tobias is just pointing out, it is just over an hour, so we'll just quickly shout out everyone who is helping us. Happy 1 hour to everyone. It's gone really fast. I didn't even notice it was an hour.
Yeah, it has. I remember looking, it was 20 minutes gone, and now...
And now we're three medallions down, so that's good. Yeah, so let's shout out everybody then. We'll start off with our trackers today, which is Tifa1234, who's making their debut tracking today, so thank you very much for that.
Oh yeah,
Also,
Tifa.
Baby Shark, and I go to scroll back up. Oh, of course, Lady Draco, also helping keep us up to date with the sheet and the trackers on stream, so you can see what's going on. Restreamer today is Hell Knight, as 99% of the time it always is Hell Knight. Our race monitor today is Baseball, and thank you very much for typing in the command for us. And finally, last but not least, making their debut today and doing a brilliant job is BenjyRees. Is it Benji? Is Benji how you prefer? BenjyRees?
Yeah, I would take anything except Ben, basically.
Anything but Ben. All right, Benji's good. Benji sounds.
I
good.
would. That is more than okay with me. Thanks, Ginger, who was doing a wonderful job guiding me through as well. I don't think Oneshot013's got the Big Goron hint because he's equipped that claim check.
Yeah, there's Bolero as well, so gonna go get that, whatever's on Big Goron. Which, I know it's dead, but I've forgotten exactly what it was. Oh, and there's Gogeta finally getting the hint that he missed earlier.
Yeah, which is the DC path hint, which I think he probably he's
Sure
looked at that and been
now,
like,
yeah.
yeah, well that was Din's easy. Well, I think that going into the Forest Temple has just paid off.
Wow. Yeah, so hammer actually required, so Stone Forest essential.
Gogeta's just got the Big Goron hint, and so the claim check is going to be swiftly unequipped. Just finished watching a race where I can't remember who it is, but they turned in Big Goron, and then went down the wall, and literally down the wall outside DMT was the Big Goron is dead hint.
That's always amusing. It's like the hit, or I've seen it other Medigoron saying Bigoron is dead is quite good as well. It's like sort of
feels like
these from a rival or something. It's like, oh yeah, Bigoron's got nothing. Don't bother with him today.
Mate, if Big Goron's got nothing, then what's Medigoron going to have? He's not even as good.
Exactly. You're going to have a fake, not as good sword. What's the point?
So Gogeta going Forest as well now means that he will eventually pick up the hammer and an extra bomb bag. There's Frog's one, dead again. Still missing one sometimes hint, but I think we've seen... No, sometimes under Foolish, but we've seen everything else.
One shot.
Do you want to go back for that?
I guess gonna follow the GC path first. It makes sense. Got the hammer, can check the maze now.
Yeah, this hammer chest is a sometimes hint, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Could be could be hinted somewhere. We're still missing one. But yeah, not got the long shot yet, but hopefully we'll get that on the way out. Like it would be an odd one to forget, because like you do go past it quite a few times.
And there's the other big Goron hint. Winner! Yeah, chat seems pretty split about whether Oneshot's actually going to go back for that. But he is exiting the right way.
And hard ignoring it. Oh.
Yeah, it's gone straight on.
Oneshot is just there. Just check the wall. Check the wall. No. Okay, less likely we'll get it now, because once finishing DC, we'll be deposited in Kakariko, and it's probably not that likely to climb all the way back up again, having cleared out GC. So that could be pretty bad.
The question is just whether he goes back once he's finished DC, which he did open the shortcut for.
Hopefully he doesn't forget then, and he does go back up. Or
Oh, missed the first bomb shot. That's unlucky. I've been hard ignoring my beer as well. Whoops.
The seed's not been that bad yet, so you haven't needed to really start hitting the booze.
It's nice, but it's despite being a stout, it's a very live beer. I'll put it that way. It very much tried to escape earlier, which I was not appreciative of. So both runners are now kind of doing checks that we've seen the other do.
Yeah, and one of them's even so kind as to be in forest. Sure, just consider it.
While Oneshot defeats the hardest boss in the game, I might take a little opportunity to plug what we've got coming up next on TSG. And oh boy, it's a big one. Are we in... Sorry, is this King Dodongo or Kraid? Music's confusing me. Yeah. Tomorrow is the very first match of the best of 3 series for the Challenge Cup finals. Which I must admit I'm super excited for, not a surprise.
Oh, so exciting. It is going to be great. Gogeta making sure this is still a race by completely deciding to not go deeper into forest. So
I could come back to bite him.
Yeah, no, that hammer is required. That could be pretty bad.
Nothing on the light arrow cutscene either.
Like, I really don't see going back to forest until the very end, unless he has to.
Oneshot's remembered this wall. But surely he doesn't go all the way up.
No, he's not going all the way up just for that check. It looks like they have forgotten it or decided to come back later.
So what are we missing that we 100% need for the seed? We're missing either magic.
Mm-hmm.
We're missing mirror shield.
Hover boots.
Hover boots, yeah.
Maybe the iron boots.
We know where the Kokiri sword is, but we don't need it anyway because Deku's open, and they've both done it.
Mm-hmm.
And they've both done Dead Hand as well.
Strength 2. Yeah, we need strength 2.
Strength 2, of course. Yeah.
So quite a few things still. Plenty of casino opportunities.
Yeah, an hour 15 in. This is by no means done.
Started off kind of linear, sort of not too bad for routing, but now it's now there's a lot of different options going on.
Meanwhile, Richard is a very good boy because that's a bottle for us. And with now 2 bottles, ice rushing intensifies.
Yeah, that's definitely know what that means. Oh well, there's strength 2. Yeah, just sitting there on Dompe digging, of course.
And that's been available for ages. That's the Sphere 0 strength.
Yep, just sat there. So there's one of the things we were just talking about needing resolved.
Yep, and Silver Gauntlets emotes correctly being spammed in chat. That's a vanilla wallet, isn't it?
Hilarious. Is this even rando? Etc.
Beautiful. That's very funny. Oneshot's going for an age change. I wonder if he's going to do what Gogeta's doing and follow Requiem to Child Spirit.
I think you might be right. I think that's a very good idea. Gogeta being sensible and
potentially
the, Sorry, carry on.
I was going to say there's potentially 2 items to be found here because we've had Spirit to Twin Rover directly hinted, and also the SFM gave us Requiem.
Tobias pointing out in chat, we do have prediction up now for the next one if you want to gamble some of those channel points. Prediction being who will be the first to find a mirror shield. The early bets are all on Gogeta, so if you want to get some good odds, maybe oppose that betting.
There was a small part of me that was half expecting Gogeta to find it in that chest and being like, well, that's easy.
Yeah. It'd be like, yep, great idea for a prediction, but cancel it. We'll have to think of a better one. Rando will rando like that sometimes. But no, just 2 keys. So I say just 2 keys. The Requiem's very important for those 2 keys, but I think that means
that
keys will probably continue and have a peek at Child Climb.
Yeah, I will never pretend to understand Spirit key logic. But child side is hard required in this case.
Yeah,
or at least I don't know.
We don't know for sure yet, but I mean, pretty much guaranteed logically. Well, it is definitely logically required.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Was that a nice purple tail on those bomb shoes?
That looked pretty sick.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Oneshot over up to 17 skulls, so racing back 20 hard.
Oh, actually, we still haven't had a 30 hint, have we?
No, I don't think so. I think that's one of the ones we're missing. Might be the only always hint we're still missing.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, so no sign of that yet, which is concerning, maybe?
And the fact that none of the always hints had anything. Bit of a bust.
Well, nothing on 20, so it's on 30 or nothing for Skulls today.
It couldn't have been funny and given us the vanilla Stone of Agony on 20, could it? That would have been good.
Double vanilla House of Sculpture. That would be really insane, and I would definitely question Randobot.
Yeah. I mean, we still can get it, I guess, with 30.
It's possible.
But it's unlikely. So Oneshot is there going into Child Spirit to see what he can find, having been given that Requiem path. Although we know from Gogeta that, with the exception of some keys, not really going to find an awful lot. I think Gogeta's he's done the maths that this is his quickest way back to the Temple of Time with no serenade for the free lift from the owl, and no preludes. He's just going to nocturne his way to the graveyard. Yeah, and some sneaky backwalking. There is some speculation about what items we might find here, especially for that Spirit Path to Twin Rover. Mirror Seal does look like the most likely candidate. There's the other frogs too.
Oh well, strength 3.
I mean, there's a reason they call it the Boulder of Destiny, isn't there?
The destiny is to go yeet some rocks, apparently, today.
We know that the light trial won't have anything for us, but OGC could well.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to go adult anyway. I can totally see a quick detour to OGC before playing Requiem.
Yeah, I would, if anything, just because it's fun to eat the rock.
You mean I can eat rocks in the first hour and 20 minutes? I'm going to do that straight away.
Oh, yeah, this is a very early strength 3.
Iron Boots for Mirror Shield and Central Pillar. Tobias, please. They're already dead. That would be so funny, though.
I mean, the likelihood is that it's probably a simple vanilla, or at least French vanilla mirror shield, but who knows? Gogeta's going to find out soon because he's going to do the adult section of Spirit Temple.
Obviously is able to restrain himself more than you or I would be able to do when it comes to fighting Strength 3. We just rush straight OGC.
And this is why Gogeta was in the top 24 in Season 5, and I've only just finished it for the first time. I got very excited there when that big chest appeared, and then remembered that it's not CSMC, and got very unexcited again.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky one because we've got League today, and then we're back to the Season 5 settings for Grand Finals tomorrow, and that is back to CSMC again. So,
yes, as someone who's kind of only been watching Zuta really for a few months, like CSMC is like the default for me.
Oh,
so
yeah. Getting used to the fact that, like, why are they checking all these small chests? And why are they peeking this?
Why have they got so much health? Although it does increase the chances of mean percent, so I'm on board.
See,
one shot. Well, that's something.
Commentators. So Bosky on right hand, Colossus. Okay.
With the long shot for Gogeta, he's going to be able to ping his way over from the adult side. Stonks are hard. Oh! Magic! Now that is good. Does this help satisfy the SFM to Bongo? Requiem
Colossus Fairy, yeah. So
yeah, Requiem for Colossus Fairy for magic.
I think you're right. It sounds plausible to me.
It's Zora's fountain that was foolish, so that's the area where Jabu is when you're a kid, or with the icy waters that when you're an adult. And in almost certainly correctly pointing out in chat that Magic 2 will be in Shadow Temple as is tradition. And there's your Mirror Shield. So that A satisfies that prediction, and B very much satisfies the Spirit Path to Twin Rover.
Yep. Pretty pretty straightforward, that one.
And there's the hover boots.
Wow, okay. Both hands required for Colossus today.
And that could also be the potential path to Twin Rover. Not to Twin Rover, to Ognob.
There's a lot of stacked locations today. path locations with multiple items.
Yeah, at the moment, it's looking suspiciously like some of those very divisive locations like Ice Cavern or GTG might not be needed.
Could just be a DLC free seed. Oh, hey. Well, there's another magic, so... So that
What
does...
is... So, the only logical way to get across, is with Requiem, because logically you need magic to cross the wasteland, right? But I mean, as you say, certain locations have just been stacked with items. Goron City had that. Spirit's got that as well. Odd Seed.
So it's really just Iron Boots we need now then. Everything else has sort of fallen into place. We know where it all is.
Yeah, that puts Gogeta potentially one item away from glow mode.
Yeah, the question is when are they going to go get that hammer?
That is the question. Because at this point, it wouldn't surprise me if Gogeta doesn't go back into forest until he has to chat with the big man.
Mm-hmm. And then it would be like, oh, it's in forest. Oh.
It's in the deer, and then goes.
And then it'll go, oh no, where's
searching for the hammer?
One shot in the meantime though is going to go yeet that rock. I will take the strength 3 bait. Let's go.
Come on, One Shot, do it for Challenge Cup.
Not today. That's a shame. Wrong shield for One Shot. Not the one I was looking for.
At least we know.
This Troll Rover's not exactly being very kind to Gogeta here. Managed to salvage it a bit there. So far it's looking like a race of who's going to remember the spot they've hard orphaned first at this rate. Yeah, hammer locks for lights. It's the only thing it's needed for. But it is an important thing it's needed for. And
it's the only thing it's needed for so far.
So far, yes, it's true. Yeah, the thing for Gogeta is that we'll have to casino mode for the hammer after casino moding for whatever he believes a go mode item is. Glow mode item is. It could be a double casino, and that would be really bad. Actually, we're going to put those hover boots to good use, and we're going to get a look at Shadow now. The hovers were Colossus left hand, I think it was.
That's the one.
Yeah, because the boss key was on the other one. So. It's pretty uplifting spirit music. So. It'd be encouraging me on if I was playing this seed. Oneshot finally picking up their mirror shield and is now able to finish off Shadow Spirit as well. Indeed, yeah, that's there's a good point there from Virgil in chat. That's both magics and spirit. Or at least in the area. No problem, Benji. Yeah, it looks like there's some internet problems going on all over the place. One of our trackers having internet problems, one of our comms having internet problems. It is live. This is what happens. If anyone's ever done anything live, you know the score. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, depending on how long it's been, Tifa, I'm pretty sure you haven't missed anything that we haven't already seen. Well, there's a gold scale. Just sat in shadow. Yeah, as chat pointed out, it's possible glow mode. 90% chance that Gogeta will not need the iron boots for the central pillar chest. However, and I can't stress this enough, just because there's a 10% chance, it certainly does not mean that he can't be screwed over entirely. Far too many times, far more than 1 in 10, I've seen it happen, I'm sure. So, confirmation bias, obviously, but it's a thing. I'm somewhat hypnotised by the Mario Kart music for the Twin Robophone. Hey! Good location for the nice arrows. Ognob. Definitely in danger now. Warren Caskin is at mean percent, I think. I think it's mean percent. Yeah, chat confirming it's definitely mean percent, so that's definitely a praise Randobot moment, that one. Being able to get mean percent makes up for a few things. And yes, Radevi, yeah, Bongo Bongo has been renamed to Ognob Ognob. Some bomb lock bombs in shadow, as Warren Converger are pointing out. Not very useful, but you take them. The Ognob thing is also quite a new one as well, Red Abbey, so I wouldn't feel too bad about it going over your head. It's only been a few weeks since there's even been a thing.
I think I'm back. I missed meme percent?
Yes, hey, Benji, you're back. Yeah, meme percent was accomplished. So
where were the nice arrows and the paperweight?
So the nice arrows were in shadow about 2 checks ago, so perfectly placed for defeating Ognob. I don't remember where the Stone of Agony was, but I do remember seeing it. Oh, that's why I don't remember it, because it was on BenjyRees about an hour and a half ago. Thanks, Sport.
I completely missed that.
I was going to say Vanilla Shadow Bosky. Pretty funny. There's been quite a lot of strange vanilla in this seed. Quite right, Tobias. ITER. Apparently so, but questionable sometimes. Yeah, I agree, Kayla. I think that's basically the nastiest thing in this seed, is the fact that it expects you to basically go deep forest. Otherwise, you're pretty boned. And one shot is slightly different in that it's a check. You could go get it right now and be absolutely fine. But it's one of those checks that we might be concerned that has just forgotten or believes is done, which I'm going to hope we remember soon that isn't the case. But they're both eventually going to get to the point when they're going to realise they're missing something that they've bailed on. And I guess that'll be the time when they'll either remember or they won't.
Has Gogeta forgotten that he picked up the ice arrows?
I mean, this is what he gets for not using the ice arrows, isn't it? You don't get to one cycle now. I think that's fair.
Big Goron Sword comes in so handy for a lot of the boss fights as well. Like things that are for runs of this quality, you can often one cycle with the Big Goron Sword. It makes it so much. It makes it almost guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. But as Ognob dissolves, does he leave us anything interesting? Nope. And that was the day the music died. What a shame.
That's nice. That's a good bit of work, that. So Gogeta has just the one medallion dungeon to do now, the water temple, and with the gold scale, he's
Pretty good
got a
chance. You can just
pretty
do
good
it.
chance of being able to complete it. So there's the only one that you can't do is the central pillar, right?
Mhm. So yeah, if Bosky's there, tough luck. But if it isn't, you're fine. Essentially. That void out there for one shot in Shadow's not going to feel too nice. Yeah, no Serenade makes me think this is the fastest way he's going to get to water.
I'd believe that.
And scales, one was on Dancing Dad, and the other one was just there in Shadow.
Speaking of the scale,
That's only one shot's first scale, having not followed Cyrus all the way to Darunia. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of ways that one shot maybe gets bailed, but I'm finding it difficult to think of scenarios.
as being a path. Dad, the wall on the.
You're really cutting out, Benji, I'm afraid. I couldn't hear anything you just said. Definitely a few internet issues going on today, it seems. Don't worry about it, Benji. Well, no need to pretend, Benji. I'm sure it was very witty. Not the boss key, so there's still a chance. No, just another small key. All the keys early, that's free. Not the key he wants. One-Shot's turn to take the very slow boat through Shadow to towards the manager's office and finally Ognob. Bosky was not vanilla, which I kind of was expecting it might be, considering how it's been going this seed with some vanilla placements, but nope. Okay, well that's almost half the chances gone for Gogeta to get through this without Iron Boots. So I'm going to go for one of my favourite clips, which is the clip through this block and save going all the way around. Executed perfectly. Just for a slingshot. Yeah, KLO, you're right. It basically becomes like a double cheeseburger of logic for Casino. Well, a double cheeseburger of not logic. Just guessing. I think that's all the keys. So but not the key that we want. Now this is getting a little bit more Monka-esque for Gogeta here. Oh yeah, I can finally hear those hover boot noises clearly. They are pretty funny. Oh hey, music came back. Hooray. Oh, missing the one cycle. It's a shame. Again, didn't use ice arrows, so you get what you deserve. That's better. Is Dark Link for one being mean and hiding the boss key today? Or is he being even meaner and not holding the boss key anyway? And it's in Central Pin. Yeah, one of the slower downsides of a CS and not being CSMC is you have more hearts. That's good, but it's also bad because if you have to fight Dark Link, then obviously he takes considerably more damage. That's right, Red Abbey, we haven't seen either of those places. We haven't been close to them. Just a Deku Shield on Dark Link. So off to the river we go. This is getting really, really, really Monka-esque now. Look at you. That 10% chance of needing iron boots has suddenly jumped up to a 50% chance. Not cool, not cool. 66.6% chance, yeah, you're right, Tobias. There it is, though, it's just on water. So, yeah, so iron boots not required. It took a while, but we found the boss key.
Looks like Gogeta just about got away with it.
Yeah, that was getting really close. But it paid out in the end. Still, though, got the same problem. Gonna get told where the light arrows are and realise that it's an item short. And we'll enter the casino full time for those for that item.
And yeah, I don't know how quickly he goes back to Forest before doing other checks.
I mean, like someone was pointing out in chat, we haven't seen GTG, we haven't seen Ice. Well, any of them could be a potential location for a hammer that's unhinted.
Oh, by the way, happy 2 hours.
Indeed, happy 2 hours. That's actually really good. You actually noticed it on time, which is a lot better than I can manage to do. So.
So, thank you, of course, to our wonderful runners, Oneshot and Gogeta. Our trackers, Tifa, who's also making their TSD debut, Lady Draco and Baby Shark. To my wonderful commentary partner, who's filling in brilliantly while my internet has a meltdown, Gingersonny, and our race monitor and chief randobot wrangler for today, Baseball as well.
Thank you very much to Benji, making a debut today and doing a brilliant job, I must say.
Oh, and Hell Knight, of course, who is our restreamer, as he tends to be for the majority of things here over at ESG.
Yeah, there's roughly close to like a 95% chance that it's Hell Knight is restreaming.
Gogeta's going to shoot the sun here and then probably go straight to Ganon's castle as soon as he sees that it is nothing worth having.
Yep, there's the instant reset. Don't even get 2 frames of it. Not what I want. Bang, reset.
Let's see if there's anything here in Gerudo Fortress before dipping GTG. Well, there's our other shirt.
So that's t-shirt percent.
Still missing the iron boots for full fashion percent.
Where those are, no idea.
And we don't. And at this point, we don't actually need them. Interesting. Gogeta, having got the strength 3, is just going to check the light trial on his way anyway.
It's not the first runner I've seen do this. Kind of makes sense. Because if it's just fair, then you save yourself a trip up the tower. And it's pretty fast for a lot of checks. So I can see doing it.
And even if he doesn't find the light arrows, he might still find himself something useful, like he has there with Ferrora's
Like Ferrora's, that will be very useful indeed. That is in fact massive when you're in a casino mode.
Oh, just about nailing it.
Oh, one
Played
shot.
one shot.
Oh. Pepe hands, but just done it. Like, I was
there's
really
another bow.
worried.
Yeah,
Of
me
course.
too. Again, this is one of those things where it's a lot harder than it looks. It took me... I fully used all of my Giant's wallet and about half of another one trying to get the 1500.
It's for one, if you ask anyone who's casually or not who's played the game, like, which mini game is you find really, really hard, and I guarantee that most people will say horseback archery is the one. Just with the way that the N64 implemented the controls, it's not very easy at all.
It's not great, and then you factor in the fact that I'm also terrible. It's not a great combo.
Well, I mean, you've not been playing very long though, so practice will fix that one.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true. And in the big boss key chest is just a small key that he's never going to use. Time for the Spice Girls.
That BGS just rips through Iron Knuckles like salt and pepper, just like nothing. Doesn't quite save the full half an hour, that the meme says, but it definitely saves a few minutes if you get it early on.
Yeah, I mean, helps in one cycle, Ognob. Helps the quick kill on Morpher. It's as you say, it's not half an hour, but it's certainly worth having.
Yeah, Tobias, you're right. That's the sort of thinking and punning that makes me think Benji will fit right in.
If the internet ever works.
If the internet ever works, yeah.
So here we go. Gogeta's got the hint. He knows that it's in Death Mountain Crater, and I imagine he now also knows that he's on a hammer hunt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure he's checked everywhere else. So, where's that hammer? Asked Gogeta. And Deep Forest is probably not going to be the first place that he's going to respond.
He's going to reverse to GCG, I think.
Looks like the most likely play, which... changed his mind.
He's
like,
he's
maybe
gonna...
I'll just do a few checks here, since it could just be sat here, I guess. And then I'll walk away.
No, it's fair enough.
As far as he's concerned, it could literally be anywhere, so any checks at this point is a reasonable play.
True casino mode, and it feels kind of weird. Like, oh yeah, I love watching Ocarina of Time. I find the logic really interesting, trying to untangle it all. Oh really? What's your favourite thing to watch? I like it when they go into casino mode and they've got no idea where anything is.
It just becomes just pure chaos.
Yeah, Gogeta he got to Ganondorf pretty quickly, and now he's having a hell of a search, I imagine.
I mean, yes, Oneshot's decision to stick it out and complete Forest is the big brain play of the season so far. Because, yeah, if Gogeta had just done that, he'd probably have finished by now. But...
But why would he stay?
Exactly. He did not stay. He did probably the correct play, in fact, and decided not to progress further in Forest. But sometimes the gambles that you take in route and work, and sometimes they don't. And sometimes you can gamble correctly, like we were saying earlier, sometimes you can gamble absolutely correctly, play perfectly, and just hard forget a check, and then you lose. And that's just random.
And another slingshot in Cubs on Drugs. which is one of my favourite Czech names. I don't know if anyone's got if anyone has the clip ready to go. I don't know why people would, but it's so funny.
It's almost like I don't have it ready to go, but I know there's people who usually do, because it is such a classic.
It's one of those, yeah. Like it comes in handy whenever there's a It's like when we're completely at a loss for the lights, and you go to Ganon, and someone posts the "in those pots over there" picture.
Yeah, pot sanity, when that starts becoming a more common thing.
Will that ever happen?
Oh, I can't see it ever happening in competitive racing outside of RSL, but maybe.
I think Tobias has delivered the goods.
There we go, Tobias. Good job. I think that's
the hammer.
The one of the biggest of all the the memes is for Cubs on Drogcheck. The epicness of it all.
Yeah, the hammer is about, I want to say 2/3 the way through Forest. I can't remember exactly which check it was.
It wasn't as far as basement, because there was a bomb bag in the basement.
Yeah.
But it was still pretty deep. Like, you have to go plan to complete Forest to actually get it. Pretty sure it's on one of the Poes. If it's the second Poe, then it was for Blue Poe. And I think that's correct.
Which I'm going to call Joel. I can't remember which one's which.
I think Joel is the second one. Tobias is one who usually knows which one's which. So I trust Tobias's word on this. He knows the naming convention of the little.
We are, of course, like contractually obligated to mention that they're named after the sisters in Little Women.
Yep.
And there's your bow percent.
Joel, Beth, Amy, and Meg. Thanks, Tobias. So it will be on Beth then, we think.
Gotcha. Thank you. Gogeta's now yeeting the rock, and it has been successfully yoked. There's a lot of bait in GTG, isn't there?
Yep, GTG today, and is just going to be bait everywhere. And we're going to open every chest, because we have to.
Matching Hylian shields there, nice.
All of those keys for 5 rupees, what the hell?
And just like in the vanilla game, a very underwhelming prize at the centre of GTG.
Yeah.
And genuinely, I found this out, so I kept accidentally checking the hint stones because on my vanilla playthrough, because why wouldn't they be useful? And I did find out that when you talk to them using the Mask of Truth, one of the hint stones does mention that the central prize in GTG is actually quite underwhelming, and I found that very funny.
It's like they knew.
Especially because for a lot of people, you do that after you do Ognob anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing in the hammer chest. We haven't seen Gerudo Valley at all, have we?
I don't think so. Just a red ruby.
And 30's dead.
Now we know.
That's the final always hint. We're still missing a sometimes and a foolish. So, back of lake hints, anyone?
At this point, yeah, back of lake hints might actually have the information we're looking for. One Shot very disappointed with GCG, and Gogeta is going to be very disappointed with GCG shortly as well.
Oh, that's a point as well. With Fountain Foolish, no one's checked that. Especially with no ice, no one's done ice. No one's, despite a lot of potential interest, both runners decided that Stone Jabu wasn't needed, and they were right.
I wonder if that boomerang's going to push One Shot to actually go dip Jabu though.
That's a point. It might do.
He just got it nice and early, and so was able to like disregard it. But when you get to this point in the seed, and you're like, are you really running short of items and where to go? You like think, well, maybe this is what the seed wants me to do. It's to go into Jabu.
Also, Dastar, we didn't check the toilet because I wasn't counting, but it was a key, maybe, or maybe it wasn't. Who knows? Dastar is probably going to do... Is he going to do Dad and then go outside to find the long shot?
Yeah, Dastar, I think we're pretty sure toilet is a key, but even if it's not, without the iron boots, we can't actually...
oh, of course,
go check anyway.
Nothing on Hot Rodder, I imagine he drops down here and he'll do, yeah, he'll get his scale on Dad and then probably his boomerang from the pot.
And then go, ooh, a scale and a boomerang. Maybe I'll go to Jabu.
Gogeta's getting his shirt. Of all the quality of life changes that Rando brought in, the worst is not getting the dancing dad cutscene.
I agree with that one. that's for what probably if I had one I was able to get put back in, like pick one, that would be the one I would choose probably.
Goron pot, much easier with bombs than without them, and just trying to line up the bomb flowers.
Oh yes, just strength. It's not a lot of fun, this check. Not even bothering to pick up the boomerang, it's like, nope, sod that. I'll come back if I
don't. Yeah, I want to avoid this, and he's going back through the Lost Woods. So he's still leaving out the DMT wall.
Yeah.
Chat seems very happy about that decision to skip the rang. Certainly no debate being had there. Nope.
It's an interesting choice. It's definitely a brave. It's definitely saying, do you know what? I don't want to do. I just don't want to do Jabu. So I'm going to ignore that it exists. And hope I never have to do it.
Yeah, of course, after the race, we'll ask both runners in for an interview. Obviously, they are under no means to...
Yeah, certainly no obligation, but...
Yeah, and we never begrudge people for not necessarily wanting to jump in. Stick upgrade.
That would have been useful 2 hours ago, but not so much now. Oh, to star. Never change.
I don't know if I am saying that, Jastar. I don't know if I am.
Yeah, off to your containment zone to star. You know the deal by now.
Which I didn't realise was actually a thing. There is actually a Jastar containment zone.
Yeah, good point, KLO. Yeah, it's gonna come back and bite him when he eventually gets to water.
And he doesn't even have Big Goron as well to make things a little bit.
Oh, so he's going to lose at least half an hour. This feels bad.
Yeah, and he's running low on nuts as well.
See if Gogeta can beat 1560.
Not going with the pots, just going to pepper the targets.
Oh!
And
oh my goodness.
10 points short, but he was slightly quicker.
That was even more Monka-esque than one-shots. Wow. That looked bad for a second, but...
Never in doubt.
Final bow. Easy. No problem. Warren could just been timed out.
Nice bit of it. I mean, I feel bad laughing about people getting timed out, but it is funny, so I don't feel that bad.
It's the equivalent of the containment zone, but just for chat. You just get timed out for like 10 seconds.
Yeah. Stocking up on some nuts.
Yo, Spicy Bacon, what is up? Yes, Jax, you have. Totally not because the star just turned up like 5 minutes ago and encouraged everybody.
And there's bomb percent, I think, for one shot. And with Fountain Foolish, why would you go there? Especially because he didn't pick up the boomerang to go into Jabu.
Mm-hmm.
So he's back into Lake Hylia, where he spotted the butter knife that he also doesn't need because he's done Dead Hand and he's cleared out Deku. I'm annoyed that I've just done a little snigger at that KLO's joke in chat. That's not bad, that. Not bad at all.
That is actually quite a good run.
Yeah, it's not bad, to be fair. The thing with jokes is, like, it's so easy to try and, like, get sucked in for how, like, where they come from, how they all work or whatever. Like, I don't want to start the kind of the dad joke style, the run, the pun run, basically, because I feel like it's the path to pain, to be honest.
Yeah, as Bumblebee says, puns are like golden sculptural tokens, always foolish.
I mean, this seed, yes. Oh, this is our first lab dive, isn't it?
Perfect rando choice of music for it as well.
What is it? I can't make it out.
It's Super Mario 64. Can't remember the name of the world.
Oh, what, like Diadox or Jolly Roger Bay? One of those two?
I think it's one of those two. I'm sure it's one of those two. I'm just not. In fact, it's been a while since I played SM64. Diadox says Tobias. That would make sense.
Abusing emote only mode as a mod to post the answer.
Yep. Tobias is the mod in charge today. It looks like so.
I might use the opportunity to spam some of my own emotes, to be honest.
I was thinking the same thing. It's like, okay, let's get some animated emotes spammed.
Oneshot's going back into the well, and where he's going to find himself a half-hour time save. And it's funny that he's remembered to go back for that one specific bomb check, but has seemingly just completely forgotten about the DMT wall. As we mentioned, it happens. Like, sometimes you just...
It's in such an obvious place that you just think, why would I not have done that? It was nothing. And then that's it. You can't convince yourself otherwise until the evidence finally stares you in the face and you're like, oh.
Yeah, so Jax, the light arrows are on the DMC ferry, which is hammerlocked. And the hammer is deep in Forest Temple, which Gogeta has kind of half dipped.
Yep, and then bailed.
So we think it is unlikely that they go back there for a while. So we're now getting kind of a lot of the odds and sods checks, I guess, from Gogeta. Things like Gerudo Valley, Adult Lake Hylia.
That feeling when you think, oh well, at least I can get the. At least Ganon told me where the light arrows are. It's fine. Oh, crap!
Don't know about that one.
Why?
Oneshot is. I thought it was good. I was going to say, does Oneshot not have the Sun Song? No, they do not have the Sun Song because the Sun Song is on Burning Kakariko, which was hinted earlier. So he's going to do. He's going to do the treasure chest minigame.
Oh dear. Feels bad. But I'm getting guesses in.
Right, left, right. Ruto's left of Long Ranch. I'm alive. I'm dead.
Yeah, not going to be me today. Or Tobias.
Oh.
All the L's are out.
Team right. Oh.
Oh, could it be? Oh my god, one to go for. I
debated. No winners.
Nothing. Nobody wins anything.
I'm not going to pretend. I was almost going to do like the Craig Charles voice and do like no winners this time on Takeshi's Castle. For America Cat, it's MXC but funnier.
Yes, exactly. MXC is funny, but Takeshi's Castle is just funnier. Craig Charles is hilarious.
I don't know whoever decided that we need to take this 80s Japanese game show and we need to slap Craig Charles on it. But genius.
Absolute genius.
No, America, it's the same thing. It's MXC, Most Extreme Challenge, but they kind of, rather than be like...
do it in a completely different way.
Like, they put like, oh, they're in teams and they do it, rather than it's 100 individuals.
Yeah, and it's they make like 90s based jokes about celebrities and stuff, like porn stars versus frat boys or something, and then just make up random stories about these people.
I would happily go on a deep Takeshi's Castle tangent, by the way, because I love it. If I could go on any game show throughout history, easily Takeshi's Castle. There's the other SFM to Bongo.
Yeah, no doubt Warring MXC is designed to be a meme show. It's just it's just a different style to like the rest of the world's treatment of Takeshi's Castle. Fort Boyard. Oh, that was pretty good.
Oh, I love Fort Boyard. I'm talking about. To be fair, I even liked it when it wasn't Leslie Grantham anymore, but especially with Leslie Grantham. I have been to La Rochelle and I have looked at Fort Boyard, but not been inside.
Same. I've not been inside, but I've seen the building. Tobias knows Fort Boyard, so he must have reached Europe at some point.
I remember there is a Fort Boyard sort of game, like, because people ran it at ESA this winter, like 2 months ago, and I had no idea what was going on.
Oh wait, I think I've seen someone, like, deep in the depths of my memory. I think I remember watching a YouTube video of someone playing that and just forgot all about it. Yeah, Dirty Dan from EastEnders. If you're British, you know.
Most watched moment in British TV history on Christmas Day is Dirty Dan serving Angie the divorce papers.
Yep. Still.
That'll come up in a pub quiz at some point. Tektite Grotto is a blue pea. This is a sort of climb where it'd be really nice if we had that third foolish hint to prevent Gogeta doing a lot of needle searching in this very Hyrule shaped haystack. One shot's checking Tektite Grotto. I wonder what's here.
Oh yeah, of course they did. Tobias making a good point. But yeah, Fort Boyard did reach Europe. They just they didn't have Dirty Den. They just have their own like presenters, but it's the same game show.
I'll be honest, the game show wasn't as interesting to me as the actual riddle for the password. That's what I really liked.
That was the best bit of the show for sure.
Gogeta, is he just having another check in the crater? See if he misidentified something, or is he... Oh no, he's going through Goron City, so I don't know where he's going now.
Yeah, to start at this point, I think he's more likely to play Minuet first, and that's pretty bad.
That's the remote grotto that One Shot's just checked. I never remember which grotto's which.
Yeah, that's the remote one.
He thought about Bolero. He's gonna Sun Song, so set time of day.
Both his runners are so close to where they need to be, and just not doing it.
Yeah, no, chickens, one-shot check chickens quite early on, and it is just a heart container.
As so often the case, not paying back its time investment, unfortunately, but still never time wasted, in my opinion.
We're over 2.5 hours in. It's been in logic for ages, but I can finally say it. We might be rushing ice.
Or we will in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Try that again. But we're going to rush it. Eventually.
Go, Gogeta, please. This current music from One Shot is the Mirror B theme from Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Not from not the Colosseum one, because that has a lot more salsa.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it, Sir Nyquil. That's essentially the situation that both runners find themselves in.
Okay, so Pokemon speedrunning is like my main thing, probably even more than OOT, and I will say that the GameCube Pokemon games are not necessarily the best games to play, but make for really interesting speedruns because they're all double battles, and a lot of it's absolutely nails. And so yeah, there's so much different, like you have to adapt so quickly on the fly, although you can't manip one of your two starters, and that makes it.
Oh, so it adds quite a lot of RNG back into it then, rather than
well, it does mean that for Colosseum, yeah. So the actual manip to manip you always run. It's Espeon in Colosseum, and then in XD you start with an EV that you evolve into an Espeon, and you can manip that, although it's quite a long process. And then you wait 10 minutes to find if your Teddy's runnable in XD, and 20 minutes to find out if your Quilava's runnable in Colosseum, which it isn't, and you start the whole process again.
Yeah, that sounds. That does sound quite interesting concepts for a speedrun, though. Jack's shouting out Pokemon Crystal Rando, and I got to agree with that. I enjoy Pokemon games. I really love Pokemon Randos.
Yeah, Crystal.
So good.
Because Crystal has the key item rando as well. Mm-hmm. It's that whole, again, trying to follow the logic.
Yeah, it's
working
like
out
a puzzle to solve with
exactly
just with different Pokemon that you can find.
Yeah, it just happens that instead of running Totodile or a Cyndaquil or whatever, you're running, I don't know, a Swords Dance Rapidash or something. It's fun.
It definitely makes you think about like strategy and games and moves in ways that you don't usually in vanilla.
100%.
Bite is just an overpowered move in the Gens 2 and 3 in general, to be fair.
I think Bite is the only move that changed from being a physical move to a special move, back to a physical move. Oh, Nutgrade! We're not going to see the third Nutgrade, I've remembered, because it's on Bigoron, isn't it? No, Frogs. It's on Frogs 2.
Frogs 2, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
We had never seen that. I mean, we've got everything for it, we're just never going to see it.
Yeah. One Shot has, again, just forgotten or mentally checked off the the DMT wall, and it looks like we're going to get a double ice play, as chat has correctly pointed out.
At this point, it makes sense for both of them, even though we know that there's not going to be anything. Well, hey, have a free blue fire bottle. That saves 5 seconds, I guess. Wow, why not?
That's so dumb. That's so dumb.
Spend one bottle of blue fire, get one replaced. Why not? Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. And that's also bottle percent, on a less funny note. Are there any... I was going to say eagle-eared, but that's not quite how it works. I'm going to go with it anyway. Any eagle-eared chatters able to tell me what Oneshot's Ice Cavern music is? Bowser's Inside Story, Final Battle, Torterra and Quarry. Good. That is excellent knowledge. Love it. So we know that Sheik here is going to teach Prelude. And at the end is...
Nothing.
Fat lot of nothing.
No, it's not Minuet.
It's Nocturne. Is Gogeta going to try and turn into 20 skulls, maybe?
Good shout. Oh, and follow the Sun Song to this check as well. I don't think we've seen yet. So this is the last graveyard check I have yet to see.
No. I have seen a fair few seeds recently, actually, where it's been Sun Song on Ocarina, and the light arrows are in the graveyard.
So, oh no, that's a stomach-sinking moment when you read that.
And everyone in chat does the proper Schadenfreude laugh.
I'm glad I'm not running this seed laugh.
100%. Both runners probably pulling their hair out slightly at this point.
Yeah, it's a wonder they've got any hair left, considering how often they play randomizers.
That is a very fair point. Gogeta finds out that there's nothing on 20, and he's doing it. He's playing Minuet. And he's going back in.
Yeah, it's not going to be for Auroras, because there's literally no point. So, yep, saving. This could be it. I think he is going to progress further into Forest.
And at this point, it's what... I mean, why wouldn't you? It's highly unlikely it's in fire, given that you're looking for the hammer.
Yep. And you don't want to go there anyway, so...
No, never do. Absolutely not. You, Jabu, you'd have to age change, and then you'd also have to age change back. And as you say, you've done half of forest anyway, so you've got a lot of the boring stuff out of the way. I get it. I mean, obviously it makes sense for us because we know that that's where the hammer is. But this is going to be probably a good 45 minutes or so after finding out where the light arrows were, that he's going to be finally able to access them. Yeah, it does look like the irons could well be in Jabu, which, given that Goron City was path to Mortha, and in Goron City we found both a scale and, as well as a hookshot, the scale and the boomerang. Yeah. I've also remembered that Prelude is a lot less valuable in League when...
If you're an adult, you can just save.
Yep. One shot not checking the hint. Also, Gutrune, you are right. Dastar has very politely sat in the containment zone for about good 25 minutes now.
I'm guessing he's feeling particularly like he's just got a wall of puns he wants to get out, so just preemptively keeping himself in there until he calms down.
Saving them for his next commentary stint.
Indeed. Oh, here it is.
So Joel's done. And One Shot's found his hookshot. / long shot. And yep. I think that tells us exactly what he thinks of that. And all of a sudden, we've got a race. Sort of.
That water boss key's gonna...
Unless he goes straight for it.
It just decides, do you know what? I'm big braining this, and I'm gonna go for the place I think is the worst, which is River. So I'm just gonna rush straight there. then there's a chance.
I've seen it happen. But I guess Gogeta, he's already done the climb and...
Yep, can just
One shot
straight back as well.
If One Shot checked it 5 minutes earlier,
then yeah, things would be a lot closer for sure. But that water temple is pretty horrible layout. It was the only thing kind of keeping him in it. It was giving him a chance to remember the check that he missed.
And yeah, that's got to feel bad when he finally checked that.
Yeah, it's not like Gogeta's situation where it's like, okay, well, I just dipped out of the dungeon a bit early. At least I found it now. Sort of. You mean it was just sat there, right in front of me the whole time? So
we are still
frustrating.
Yeah, we are still missing a Sun Times hint. So no idea where it is, but imagine if it was in the fountain and it was River Chester's boss key.
Oh wow, that could actually that could have swung it entirely the other way. Might have given him a chance.
Yeah. So if Gogeta can play it out as he finally gets his lemon lollipop, gonna go to Forest so he can get the easy for FW back to Ganondorf. Yeah, that'll maintain its perfect record in Division 3A.
5 out of 5. That's very strong form at the halfway point. But if
It's
you want to
not
get
bad.
promoted,
Not bad. And here's the gold scale water temple entry. You'll never beat me with the light arrows you found in Death Mountain Crater. Well, it took me a while, but I don't know about that one, Chief.
actually hid them somewhat well today, for a change.
Yeah, I gave them to this great fairy, who I don't know why they were complicit in it, but fine.
I mean, if the fairies were so great, then surely they could have stopped all of this from happening in the first place, no? Kind of
true.
sus. Not as powerful as they're made out to be.
Sorry, did you just use the word sus?
Yeah.
What is this, Jeopardy?
I don't know, I just play too much Amogus, so it stuck in my lingo.
It's one of those things now where I don't think I've played it in like a year and a half, but it's just firmly in the lexicon now, isn't it? Anyway, so we are now 2 hours and 51 minutes in, and with apologies to August 40th, here Ganon.
If your internet was better, that would have been perfect. Chef's kiss, but it kind of cut out a little bit.
Rip. The voice was too strong, it was too powerful, could not be contained.
Channeling the power of August 40th, and it was just too much for the internet.
I'm now going to do my best to bias G and explain the methods for preparing bacon by first tenderizing the meat using, if you have a meat tenderizer, great. If not, Megaton Hammer more than does the job.
Okay, last bit of advice from Zelda now.
Yeah, always double check with the sous chef, make sure you're on the same page. Now we're going to slice it up. What do you fancy? Streaky, thick cut?
Thick cut and crispy as hell. Sounds good.
Oh, I can properly go for that right now, actually. Especially because I haven't eaten yet, and I'm getting hungry. And all we need to do now is just get it properly crispy. We're going to cook it under a very intense heat. We're going to use the most powerful light magic available, but just stick it under the grill or in a frying pan probably does the trick as well. And then the pièce de résistance. GG's to Gogeta.
Gets a Michelin star, and also wins the race.
And yeah, Oneshot is not going to finish this one out.
No, there's literally no point for him to finish. It looks like Gogeta's going to come and have a quick chat with us. And Oneshot's going to go eat, which is fair enough.
Sounds like a pretty good plan.
Sounds like a good idea to me as well. But yeah, should be able to get Gogeta in for a brief chat in a minute.
Yeah, like as we say, it's great when runners can join us for an interview, but it's never expected that they have to. And yeah, sometimes it's just like, you know what? I have other things to do. I'd rather
Absolutely.
put it to bed, and can't blame them.
No, it's not the sort of seed you feel nice if you're losing on when you know that you hard last location to something really blatantly obvious. It's got to feel bad. So I'd probably just want to write this off completely. Go eat, forget about it.
Yeah, I did a lot of good stuff, and it just didn't quite pan out Oneshot's way. Gogeta, GG's.
GG's.
Hey, thank you.
So yeah, so that seed then. That light arrow hint was fun for you, I imagine.
Yeah, I was more expecting a my castle, but well, I hope for yeah. I baited everything on that for strength 3.
Yeah, we
And
saw that
just
you
was useless.
Did get
yeah,
you
you
Ferora's win though, which
yeah, that was
was
the
pretty big.
good thing.
Well, it could have been.
and especially when you get strength 3 early on, it is so tempting to go and just have a quick check at the light trail on the way.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's rough to do.
It's like the thing for seed from what we saw is like the hints was sort of useless, kind of, because they're kind of easy to resolve and they didn't really say
Yeah.
anything that useful.
Yeah, they're just useless. But then
Yeah,
again, everything was on the progression, so
yeah, one of those, like, the always hints didn't really turn up anything interesting. The sometimes hints, again, like the prelude check being a sometimes hint when you start with that essentially was
yeah.
so unnecessary.
Yeah, I was like, thanks, Captain Obvious.
We would
Yeah.
for a big time the question was whether it was about you trying to find that hammer and Oneshot trying to find the long shot, which for them was in the trail wall, and it was just kind of a question of when either of you would commit to the check. And with Forest,
yeah.
it's tricky because like there are so many better places to, like, maybe more dense places to go, that I totally understand, you know, going to GTG, which you hadn't touched, going to Ice Cavern that you hadn't touched.
Yeah, about Ice Cavern, I think it was a misplay on my part. I kinda forgot about the key layouts in Forest, and I remembered when I was in the river, so I was like, well, I'll do Forest after. Because I remembered I had a lot of keys early.
That was the thing about Forest. I think the first checks were all your keys pretty much straight away.
Yeah, exactly. So I just kind of forgot about it. I was tempted to go fire too.
Yeah, we were
But
wondering if fire was going to
yeah.
bait because nobody went fire today, which was
yeah,
which was correct.
almost. I would have done so if it wasn't a casino or a big casino, I think. But since I overextended my child one, I was like, okay, I did a lot of checks, so I can go back playing safely.
Yeah,
Bottom
how
of
do
the well
you?
was hard to skip after you got the 6 meds.
Yeah, I was just going to say how you kind of, when you're in pure casino mode, how you choose whether you go by density or whether you kind of get a certain feeling for something that you've left out.
Yeah, first it's remembering what you have left in the seed. And well, after trials, GTG was the most dense area, of course. Then I could chain it with Gelos Valley Lake Ilya and Airfield. So it was the best route for me, I guess, since I already did bottom of the well.
Yeah, I see what you mean in terms of there's not a lot of lost movement in that you're going into GTG and then, yeah, as you say, doing the Valley loop, which also gave us the 30 skulls hint, which was nice
The
to
only one we
find.
saw as well. Didn't see any
Yeah,
others.
well, I wasn't really considering 30 skulls. If it was 30, I think Oneshot would have finished before me.
And the other thing I wanted to mention was the water temple, because obviously not having the iron boots, we're kind of counting down all the checks, and it's getting to the stage where it's it might be central pillar.
At one point, I thought the hammer was behind iron boots. I was like, that's impossible. It's behind iron boots. It's a baseball shield. It's obvious.
Just anticipate the worst.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sometimes as much as the seed roller, like you try and obviously you just press the buttons and it goes. Sometimes RandoBot has it refuses to cooperate.
No. I'm not. I don't agree with this. When you use the generator, it's like a firearm. You are the responsible. You are responsible for the seed. It's just a tool. So yeah.
But it was a really fun race to watch, actually. Like, for so much of it as well, both of you relatively flew through it. I mean, checking Ganon after a little over 2 hours, is reading it, and a lot of it was kind of linear, but just absolutely flying through it.
Yeah, I thought Oneshot was way ahead of me with that spirits. I was like, yeah, that's interesting, I guess. And then it was a casino, so I was like, yeah, not interesting too.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of seeds just end up like that, really.
Yeah, I was like, well, spirits is just mirror shield, or just magic.
See, that's like there are a couple of locations like Spirit and Goron City where it's like there's a good few items here, and always there was one item which is like, oh, actually that's a really simple path.
Yeah, exactly. The only one which was kind of funny was Saya for the dongos, which gave you the scale, which gave you finally the mum bag in the main.
Yeah, that was probably the most interesting logic chain in the whole.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I extended my child one, because I wanted that bomb bag before going adult.
Yeah, so much of the seed is always kind of secretly bomb locked, and if you don't pick up some bomb chews early, which generally you have no control over, yeah, getting an early bomb bag is really important.
Yeah. The only shoes you could get early on, I guess, was behind 10 skulls. It was a wallet, I think.
It was the wallet, yeah. Vanilla wallet on 10 skulls, which very funny.
Yeah, so you could get shoes with that one. But yeah, everything was like behind bomb bag. The only bomb bag accessible.
Yep.
But yeah, you got it nice and early by following the logic well, and that's, it seems like a simple thing to say, you just follow the logic, but especially when it's not straightforward, sometimes you do just let things slip. So obviously, always to be credited, I think.
Yeah, it's always nice to see some good logic actually paying out.
All I wanted was to get that bomb bag early to go adult.
Get the bomb bag, blow open the seed.
Yeah, I knew Requiem was on Minuet, and I was like, I should have done it when I got the ball. But it was too late for that, so I hope for Neri Bombag to go check Requiem. Because I knew I would go just Spirits.
T from chat for good point. Wondering where the irons are.
I wonder too.
Could be anywhere. Literally
at this
anywhere.
point, who knows? Fire or Jabu, I guess. Probably.
No,
but...
Jabu is foolish. If I have to take one guess, I would say Compass Chest in Fire. It's classic one.
Oh, Jabu was foolish. I didn't remember seeing that hint. I
yeah,
must have missed
it was on Tots, I think. So that's why I got to when I got the boomerang
so that
in
explains
Dragon City. Yeah,
why both of you were hard avoiding Jabu with it. So because we missed that here, so no one here had any idea of seeing the Jabu hit. So
and that
we were like,
that also very much explains why Oneshot, after doing the pot, just
ignored
refused
the
to pick up the boomerang.
Makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, Gogeta, like this season of leagues, you're on a bit of a roll at the moment. Is there any reason why you think? Is there any reason why you think that's happening, or is it just you're just kind of in a nice groove?
There was a few seeds I was just lucky, a bit lucky. To be honest, when I saw that split, I was like, okay, I lost. It's my first loss, but not even, so that's surprising.
Yeah, promotion's still definitely on the table as a possible outcome.
Yeah, I think Oneshot is one of the strongest of my division. So I was not really expecting to win against him after that Spirits.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying before the race that both you and Oneshot have both been performing really well recently in the main bracket and also Challenge Cup. Oneshot making it to the semi-finals and you making it to the last 24 of the brackets. This match is highlighted for a while. It's an exciting one to watch, and you guys didn't disappoint.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it was fun to watch.
Definitely was.
Yeah, that's why you asked baseball to roll the seeds, no? I know it.
Yeah, it always delivers.
I think we can probably start wrapping up there. I don't have any other questions. I don't know about you, Benji.
I can't think of anything right now.
So quickly shout out everybody who's volunteered to help put this on. Start with our runners. Give them both a follow if you haven't already. Gogeta and Oneshot as their Twitch IDs.
For restream.
Thank you for letting us restream, Gogeta.
Absolutely.
My co-com today have a brilliant debut for the first time doing this. BenjyRees, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ginger. You've been a delight to commentate with.
Fantastic. I'm glad to made it nice and easy for you. The trackers today, also a new debutant, Tifa1234. Thank you very much. And Lady Draco and Baby Shark, regulars, for helping out as well. And baseball, of course, as Gogeta has mentioned, might be coming to have a few words with you. Baseball was the race monitor today. And finally, Hell Knight is the one who is restreaming this for us and helping us bring all these races.
And TSG is back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 8 European time, which is 7 our time, Ginger, for the first match of the Challenge Cup finals with Priere taking on Westerfer, and I will be in chat with the rest of you going ballistic because I can't wait. It should be a great series.